candidates. What concerns do you have about identifying a sustainable water supply for the Palouse Basin? How will those concerns inform your recommendations for a solution?
Perfect question. I just spent an hour yesterday with Dale Ralston, who actually specializes in that area. We do have a problem with respect to our water system here and our infrastructure. One of the things that's interesting is that our aquifers actually have rock over it, so it's hard for water to seep in, so we're using it faster than it's being refilled. The one good thing is we've got really smart minds working on it, and we're a model here in this area for the entire country for people working across 2 states, because the people in Pullman and Whitman County and Latah use the same process. And we actually have experts talking about it. Right now, they've come up with 3 or 4 solutions. We're talking about grants, and we're now beginning to look at possible solutions for the problem of water. But I think we cannot be thinking about sustainability without looking at the issue of water and more than individual actions.
Thank you very much. Mr. Mitchell, can we move next to you?
So the first forum that we had, I didn't make it to because I had some family business to take care of back in Utah, but I heard that this was kind of a big deal. And so I really dug into it and started looking into it. And what I found about the aquifers is actually really interesting to me, and I enjoyed looking at it. I think that one of the most important things is that we have people that specialize in that are trying to figure out how to fix things, how to get things on track. I think that the thing that we can do locally is just kind of understand what's going on with the aquifer so the citizens start making better decisions. I had a long conversation with someone when I was out knocking on some doors, and we had a great conversation about her yard and how she's got it done where she's using no water in her yard. And I thought about that and what I'm doing in my own yard. So I actually built a big cement patio in the back, which cut out a lot of the watering that I do. So I think that information is going to be a huge key to helping the city actually figure that side of protecting that. But getting the experts out there to figure out how to correct it is going to be huge.
Thank you very much. Mr. Rakides.
What was the question again?
Yes. What concerns do you have about identifying a sustainable water supply for the Palouse Basin? How will those concerns inform your recommendations for a solution?
Well, I think it is really important that I don't think it's like an emergency right now, but I think it can be eventually, and so we need to be on top of it right now. It's important that, I think one of the biggest things is, for me, just since the county fair, I've been educated quite a bit. I took a survey there. It leads you through a series of questions and how you answer it. It's really opened my mind and my understanding to how I can better conserve water. I try to conserve everything, but how can I be more conservative with our water? And you know, when it snows so much here and it rains and you think, how can we have a water problem? But we do, you know. And so I know there's 4 different options we're looking at, and I think just being on the city council is just jumping into what's going on, listening to the experts, and try to make choices that would be beneficial to us and our entire region, and making sure we have sustainable water.
Thank you very much. Ms. Zabala.
Back in the 70s, there was an effort to implement an alternative water source. And the infrastructure that was being proposed, there was not a great process for involving the people who were going to be affected by that. And when folks who were, a bunch of farmers, got together and they looked at this proposal and they were real mad that they weren't considered for something that was going to affect their land. And so they got together and they killed that. And when I think about the need to identify an alternative water source, which is really important, we've known this was something we needed to do for several decades. It is something where I think the city council plays a really great role in being collaborative with partner agencies. So Pullman, all of the county here and across the border, and the universities as well. They have an entity called the Palouse Basin Aquifer Committee, PBAC. And again, the role that we can play, I think, is making sure that there's a really robust public involvement process so that people who live here feel like they're invested in that decision that's being made and are happy with what is being proposed to be implemented, because it's something where we're all affected. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Ms. Behrens?
Right, so I myself am not going to be able to find a sustainable water source. And so, as has been mentioned, we need to be relying on experts. We need to be encouraging people who have expertise in this area and are delving into this to be looking for it. Right now, we can turn on our taps and we have water. We need to make sure that that's true 50, 100 years from now, as we're building a community that is sustainable, as we're making sure we're building for the generations that come after us. And so I think that if there's anything I learned from the Water Summit a few weeks ago, is that Moscow is actually doing quite well. And that's something that I'm proud of. I'm proud to be a part of a city that is already on top of this in so many different ways. And so we need to continue that. And then the other most important part, I think, is education. As has already been mentioned here, as we as candidates are becoming more and more aware of this, it starts changing your own personal lives and the way that you view water. And I think as we broaden that education for the community, we have a community of people who do love this city. And so as we teach people more and more, they can use less water.
Thank you very much. Ms. Keller?
I think about water every day, and it scares me every day. I'm fortunate to work in a place that we talk about water a lot. We have a 2-stall composting toilet, and so we don't use a regular restroom. We have a sink that isn't the best, and washing our dishes, we do it really quickly because we worry about water. I worry about water in our lawn. We try not to do that anymore. Even though we get bad raspberries, that's okay.